Hey guys! I just wanted to go over how to shrink, enlarge, and crop images today. So oftentimes when you place images, they come in this really ginormous form. That's not what you want. You can click drag to shrink them, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, but when they're this big, what I like to do is right click. Sorry, I'm not right clicking correctly. Right click, hit transform, then scale it by about 20%. So you have this nice, fairly small, easy to deal with photo or art piece. Once I have that, if I want to shrink or enlarge it just a little bit, I will hold Command Shift on a Mac computer or Control Shift on a Windows. Click on the image and then just drag the corners, and you can see that's enlarging the image. Now InDesign has this interesting feature where you can drag individually kind of the cropping boundary and the image itself. When I hold Command or Control on a Windows, what I'm doing is essentially saying move both the cropping boundary and the image itself at once. But you can see if I don't do that, then I can just click on this blue border and I can start cropping. And that's not moving the image, it's just moving the cropping boundary. I'm going to undo that. If I held Shift while I was doing it, that would constrain the proportions of the cropped boundary without moving the image inside, which I would need to hold Command or Control on a Windows if I wanted to do that at the same time. To move just the image itself and not the cropping boundaries, I would click on this circle in the middle so that these brown dots come up, or else I would double click on the image. So you want that kind of brown border along the edge. You see these brown dots here that are not blue, and if I click on those, I can do something like that. So I'm moving the image, and you can see I'm not constraining the proportions, so the image is getting squashed in really weird ways. I'm going to undo that. If I held Shift while I was moving the image itself around, that would constrain the proportions so that while I could shrink the image itself, not changing the cropping boundaries, as you can see, now it's getting cropped, but the proportions of the image aren't changing, it's not getting squished or stretched weirdly, and so I really recommend whenever you're going to be changing the proportions of the image itself, you should really be holding Shift to make sure that those proportions aren't changing, it's not getting squished weirdly. When you're doing cropping, of course, it's okay if you end up cropping off a little bit of the top or something in order to make it fit on the page. Although if you're going to do significant amounts of cropping, please talk to the photographer or one of our photo editors first. Yeah. So anyways, quick rundown of that. Command Shift is probably your most useful tool in order to adjust the size of the cropping and the image at once. If you don't hold Command, you can adjust the cropping without the inner image, or if you double click, you can adjust the inner image without the cropping. Whenever you're adjusting the inner image, whether that's by holding Command Shift and adjusting both at once, or just having double clicked and you're just playing with that inner image, you should really always be holding Shift so you're not squishing the photo in weird ways. Oh, and one last thing as a demonstration of what you can do with that inner image, you can also drag the inner image so it's moving around within that cropped boundary. It's a bit of a weird thing, but it can be useful sometimes just for making like minor tweaks of where the image is, or moving it around within the boundary. Can be useful, although it's not really a strictly necessary tool. For art, the skill is pretty much the same. Let me see, I think I have an art object somewhere on this page. Maybe not. Let me place one. So this art object also started out really big. I'm just going to transform, scale, and scale it down pretty small, and then move it down. Oops, looks like I did have another looks like I did have that art image, and there it is. But anyways, here I have another one. And anyways, the principle is pretty much the same. It looks like I have a little too much white space, so I might just crop it around it. Not that it really matters, I just don't like to have all that extra white space. And I could click inside and then move the art, so it's getting cropped off. That's not really what I want though. right? And I can hold Command Shift, in order to just enlarge the art. Oops, and you can see I'm cropping off the hand a little bit, so I'm just going to move that cropped line so it's not cropped off anymore. That's one thing with art. You should be careful to make sure that you're not accidentally like cropping off in a very awkward place. But yeah, it's pretty simple. If you have any questions, let me know, but thank you so much.